All right, it's finally the big moment. I've been holding back on critiquing the new Cosmic Fury suits. But before I get to the suits, I want to talk about the actual main episode of this. This is now the point where the Rangers are now no powers. They've been stranded on a planet, so they have to deal with a lot of situations that are going on. And of course, Lord Zed going after Earth while they're stranded with no ability to go back there. This is basically the episode I wanted to see in the previous one. Just within the first 5 minutes of this episode, they actually did what I wanted Javi to be doing in the previous one, which is them showcasing his problems with his arm. And then, of course, it also deals with all the various issues all the characters have. Each of the characters have some sort of problem they have to solve. Aeon is frustrated and annoyed because they just got Zayto back and now he doesn't know what to do because he wants to find his friend. Amelia's just trying to hold everyone together. Billy, it has to try to figure out the situation. He's like, well, I've been dealing with this before, so like, what can I do in order to fix this problem? How can we get off on this planet? So there's a lot of stuff going on. It didn't force things that it didn't need. Because they didn't have their powers, they didn't use the Zords in this episode, which gave them more time to expand on the stuff that was really needed. One particular thing I did like about this episode the most was Billy dealing with Ranger powers. For whatever reason, back when MMPR was on, and even in later seasons like Zeo, and to an extent Turbo, Power Rangers always had dealt with power issues. Either Rita was able to block them somehow and they had to solve a problem in order to get around it, or Tommy's powers were all over the place and Billy was there always trying to figure out problems, helping out Alpha in order to get these powers up and running. In most cases, power issues rarely ever happen. Like in one case I can recall is in the Lost Galaxy episode where their morphers were actually damaged and burnt. And in the next episode, it was solved pretty much fairly easily, and it wasn't a complicated thing. So it kind of like, I missed that. So I was glad Billy being back in Cosmic Fury, they used his expertise. Now, I also did like this episode because they actually put more effort into the story. Now, because we really didn't have a Zord fight and they were stranded on a planet, Power Rangers tends to not really do good when it comes to like alien environments. Usually the extent that they do with alien environments is they colorize things. So I did like that they had all these kind of funny plants and fruit and stuff. The only complaint I had from this was that it's supposed to be, desert, boiling hot, but there was no color grading on the shots from outside pretty much at all. Even back in RPM days, whenever they were doing the destroyed landscape of Earth on the outside, they usually color corrected all the exterior shots to be more like, burning hot. The old technical term is a bleach bypass, where they took the bleaching process out of the film process in order to make it look washed out and more like hot. But now let's talk about the actual new powers. Now, the new morphers, for the most part, I did like them. The toy version is not great, but the actual prop they used in the show, I really liked. It was actually a lot more cooler than I thought, because there was a lot more lights and cool features that when it flips up, the orbs can be put in, that glows. The only thing that I never liked about it was having the lightning bolt, because it's the lightning bolt from the TV series logo. And with exceptions, like I said, the stupid trucks they used in Dino Thunder, that was the only other time I think that they used the lightning bolt in show. The lightning bolt on the title should never be used. Now, if you wanted to argue to have some sort of logo on, put Zordon Z on it, or Alpha's lightning bolt if you wanted to do it properly. But I still think in general it was a tacky choice. Aeon did bring up a point that I didn't even catch when I first watched the episode. He did mention like, oh yeah, my morpher matches yours. And I thought that was kind of like, he is the 6th Ranger and he really should have his own morpher. The morpher was an original design, so I understand why they wanted to make all the morphers very similar, but I think that could have worked to their advantage. Now, obviously in MMPR, the power morphers were all basically the same. Billy was here, he was the one to design it. I think what they could have done to simply make his more unique was simply flop the colors. The gold part where the nose of the dinosaur, make it silver, and the back part, which opens up to put their orbs, make it gold. Just like how Tommy's morpher was just gold, but it was still the same morpher as everyone else's. Let's talk about the scene with Ollie and his mother. That felt much like the moment where Kim and Tommy were talking in the juice bar when they finally confronted each other and saying, you know, I know you're the Green Ranger, I know you're the Pink Ranger. Not only is it's his mother and him toying with her on top of it and taking advantage of her feelings. You know, Tommy, evil Green Ranger, he does evil things, but for the most part, when he was the evil Green Ranger, he didn't really interact with many other people around in the showcase, that bar, that one little scene with Bulk and Skull. He's evil, period. You can't do anything about it. To reinforce that look, they have to get rid of the powers, because ultimately the reason why they had to do this was because if there was a way to cleanse him from his evil deeds, or the option of like, all right, they tried everything and then he slowly turned good, then what would be the reason why he would go to the Cosmic Fury powers if his Dino Fury powers were still available? It would run into the exact same problem of us that we complained about for years with the Turbo powers. In the Turbo movie, they never addressed the Zeo powers. They worked, they functioned, there was nothing wrong with them, and because they cut out any of the material that was supposed to deal with that in the movie, it's just like they just abandoned the Zeo powers for reasons. But we're all here to talk about the Cosmic Fury powers. But I didn't want to give my opinion on them fully because, again, when you film something on cameras, it looks much different compared to you know, taking photographs on a set, because it's not designed to be that way. It's designed to look like this. Do the Cosmic Fury suits look better in camera, or do they still look bad? Some things are better. I think one of the issues I had with when I saw them in the promotional photos, the arms looked very, very plain. I think because, again, the material they use for the Power Ranger versions of the suits is not like the reflective stuff that they use in the Super Sentai, so it always looks crummier, but that looked much better on camera. And for the most part, the boots and the morpher, like I said, they all look good. The crown of the new designs goes to the weapons. I really like all the weapons designs. They're really unique. They kind of harken back to Dino Thunder's motif, because Dino Thunder loved all the spiky stuff around their suits and gear, so I thought that was a cool little add-on to that. But the main issue that everyone has is the chest area, and not because it's a muscle suit. Yeah, I don't care for muscle suits that much either, but I was like, all right, the muscle part, not a big deal. Does it look crummy being blank? Yes, it still does. No matter what, being a blank chest piece, it's just bland and boring, and now we know why it happened. Basically, Hasbro wanted them to make it very simplistic so they can make the figures easier, because they don't have to put a lot of paint applications. If you notice, every Power Ranger suit, even MMPR, and that's a very simplistic design, it just has a diamond on it, it's something there on the chest. Yes, they have that little gray sash piece at the bottom of the suit, but everything else is just a solid color, and there's just nothing there to break it up. Especially after we see Ollie's dark evil Ranger outfit in the next episode, you're going to be like, wow, the Cosmic Fury suits are very boring. The helmet is boring because they're pretty much the exact same helmets. Okay, obviously you don't want to copy Q Ranger, but I think in that particular area, I think they should have used the animals from the Q Ranger footage. But since we're on the subject of the Cosmic Fury suits, I wanted to talk about all the issues with the Cosmic Fury suits, because one particular issue had come up within the production team, and I know it's kind of a spoiler for later episodes when Zayto comes in. He was the champagne-colored Ranger suit versus the more obvious choice of him, you know, being a white Ranger, because of what happened to him in the story later on. Now, the reason why they didn't do that, production-wise, they thought that wouldn't be a good idea for a black actor to have a white Ranger outfit, which I thought that was absolutely ridiculous and dumb. Anyone can be any Ranger color. It was the same thing that I hated when we heard the same complaints where, oh, when Zach and Trini were casted in MMPR, they were the Black Ranger and the Yellow Ranger. And I'm like, why is that a big deal? They are the Black Ranger, they are the Yellow Ranger. All they are is a color. That's how I saw it. That's how the original casting people saw it. They didn't see it in any other negative way. And if you do see it that way, you're just prolonging that racist aspect forever. Like, when would it end if you keep seeing it that way? If you stop seeing it that way, then it's no longer going to be a racist issue. It was stupid then, it's stupid now. Anyone can play any color, no matter what. What makes it more annoying, the whole reason why Cosmic Fury was created was because we want to do our own thing. It won't work if we use the Q Ranger suits for various story reasons, like Izzy, skirt, this and that, and colors and designs. We want to do our own thing. We want to have control over our thing. Why didn't you just have Zayto and Amelia be both Red Rangers? It makes perfect sense for Amelia to be a Red Ranger. Zayto's not there. She was helping the team out. Did people forget that we had multiple Red Rangers before? Wes, Eric, and you literally had another extra Red Ranger in your first episode with Mick. But not even just that. It made the production team look even more foolish because you're adapting from Q Ranger, which has 2 Super Sentai teams in there, that has 2 Red Rangers. On top of it, one of the Red Ranger's animal motifs is a phoenix. You had the platter right in front of you, and you didn't take it. Besides all the Cosmic Fury suit nonsense, this episode juggled all the plot lines much better, from the personal aspects of all the characters to all linking up to the main story. Everyone had something to do. I think besides a couple of issues with dialogue, I think like when Amelia was talking with Aeon to try to, why don't you cook some food? It'll get your mind off it. They repeated that dialogue in a later scene. And also when they were talking about the blueprints, spaceship stuff, they could have fixed that in editing. Besides those few issues, this is a very strong episode. The best episode that they've made so far. We don't always need to have Zord fights. Yeah, of course, you had to have a monster in the episode and a problem they had to deal with, which you did. And you did it in a creative way. Billy, he was very useful in this episode, which I sorely missed. And they set a lot of things also in motion that have to be done in later episodes. Focus on what's important, focus on what the core element of each of the characters were, and showcase them like, okay, this is the reason why Amelia's the Red Ranger. This is the reason why Javi's having problems with his arm. But they finally also showed the positive aspect because it's a robotic arm. He's going to be able to punch and knock monsters out with no real problem. Not only does he have his Ranger strength, he has the robotic strength, so it's just like, what, 2-3 times stronger than all the other Rangers combined? Not to mention, the aspect of the base being a spaceship, maybe Ravcon tech in general, is very modular. What were your guys' personal favorite moments in this particular episode? Like mine, obviously Billy. Billy was kind of like referencing Dr. K, so it's possible that Billy and Dr. K have talked to each other on how the morphing grid works. Seeing General Shaw come back. I like that continuation of, look, we need someone from a past season. Yes, we're still alive. We're not just saying there are past Rangers and we don't get to see it. But what are your favorite moments? And is it the Cosmic Fury suits? Is it the weird monster of the week? Or is it, Amelia becoming the Red Ranger? Or seeing how bad Ollie can be?